Hello everyone. Vitality of our economy, enrichment of our lives, comforts in our daily lives. It has really made today's life very convenient, very comfortable. All the works, our daily activities, they have become very easy and very efficient. And all this is possible only through a well-knitted transportation, communication and trade. Hello everyone, we are here to discuss the lifelines of the Indian economy. The lifelines, that means transportation, communication and trade. They are interknitted, they are knitted together. In our daily life, we need certain things which are available nearby. But there are certain products which are to be brought from far off places. The products, they do not move themselves from their production units to the demand units. They do not move themselves. They have to be transported, they have to be brought to the different parts of the country. And this well-knitted transportation and communication is not only important for a local trade, but it is also very important for our national as well as global or international trade. So, a well-knitted transportation and communication, it is a prerequisite for our existence. It is a prerequisite for our socio-economic and overall development, overall growth. Transportation and communication, these have been the two targets, the two main targets before the governments and before the countries for a long time. When the civilizations were growing in different parts of the world, a lot of stress was laid upon the transportation, communication and trade, because they not only help in the economic activities, they not only help in the economic development of a country, but it also helps in the cultural pursuits. It also helps in different ways in our social aspects, and they are rightly called the lifelines of the economy of any country, because this is the infrastructure on which our economy runs. Do you remember your second chapter of economics, in which we read about primary, secondary and tertiary sector? And tertiary sector is rightly known as the service sector. So this chapter is rightly connected with the service sector, because services have been provided. And the transportation and communication, they not only help one or the other sectors in India, but all the sectors rightly called the primary and the secondary sectors. So this is the intermediary between them. From the primary sector, raw materials to be taken to the secondary sector, and from the secondary sector, products to be taken to the market, to the consumers. So there is a well-knitted transportation and communication, and that is why we call it the lifelines of the Indian economy or the lifelines of any country. Any country, for development, it needs a well-knitted transportation and communication. Transportation, very well, the different modes of transportation can be divided into three domains, into three areas, that is land, water and air. Land, water, air. And communication, you are very much aware about communication today. Information technology has brought wonders in communication, and even in the communication, India is much ahead. You know that our post and telegraph is the largest in the world, and our telephonic system, it is the largest in Asia. So in this chapter, we are going to focus on two main aspects of our life, that is transportation and communication. So first of all, we will discuss about transportation, which has really made the whole world as a large village where people are very much familiar with each other, where it is very easy to go from one house to another and mixed up and have communication. So this is because of the well-knitted transportation system. So there are three main modes, three main means of transportation. We can, for our convenience, we can divide it into three. First of all, land. When we talk of the land transportation, it covers the three areas, that is roadways, railways and pipelines, which is a recent development in India. We will study in detail about it. We have already studied about HVJ, 1700 kilometer long pipeline. So there is pipeline transportation also in the chapter of the minerals. Knowingly I told you about the pipelines because I told you that in the coming chapters we are going to read about pipelines and all in detail. Correct? So land mode of transportation includes roadways, which is the largest in the world in India. Then it is railways built on land, and finally it is pipeline transportation. However, when we say roadways and railways, we meant people and passengers and their belongings. Correct? When we talk of railways, again people and their belongings. When we talk of pipelines, it simply means transporting the raw materials which are in liquid, gaseous or slurry form. Correct? Second mode of transportation covers the transportation through the water. India is very famous in the world and is famous with the name of the seafaring countries. Seafaring, it is among the one of the seafaring countries. Why? Because of the two long coastlines. Because of the two long coastline, western coast and eastern coast. Because of these two coastal lines, India has been among the seafaring countries in the world. A very well knitted sea route, a very well knitted seaports are there covering the overseas trade in India. So the waterway mode covers two aspects: inland waterways in which rivers are playing a very important role. Certain rivers are mechanized, certain rivers are not mechanized. They are operating trade through handmade boats or hand driven boats. And there is overseas trade. Our ships, our cargoes, they are doing very well in terms of foreign trade. I told you that even today, even in the contemporary period, 95% of the foreign trade, export and import, is done through sea, through water, that is overseas trade. So this is the second most important, the cheapest and environmental friendly mode of transportation. Although some delay is there, but environmental friendly and fuel friendly also. Water transportation is fuel friendly also. Then we come to the last mode of transportation, that is air. Air transportation can finally be divided again into two, that is domestic airways and international airways. When we go to the airport to travel, we see the domestic and the international. There are two segments. If we are traveling outside India, we have to enter into international area, and if we are traveling domestically, we are going to Bombay, we are going to Kolkata, then we have to enter the domestic area. However, the domestic airways have of private airlines. There is horde of private airways in India, and they are doing very well in facilitating the movement of passengers and their belongings very fast, very quick and very efficient and very comfortable also. So we are going to focus first of all on transportation. So according to this classification, we will proceed our chapter, and first of all we go through roadways. India has the largest network of roadways in the world, because territory wise is also India is a very big, a very diverse country. Roadways are preceding railways in India. In all the ways, roadways have been preceded over railways in many ways. This is your long answer. Why roadways have preceded railways in India? Rightly, you can write down the points like it is easy to maintain and construct roads. Railways. Secondly, construction of roadway is much cheaper than the construction of railway tracks. Thirdly, it is very easy to build roads on the undulating topography, on the slopes. You must have seen that most of the railways are in the plain area, but the hilly terrains and the rugged topographies and undulating topographies, they are covered with roads. Hardly there are railways, there are no railways. So roads can traverse the undulating topography and even the hilly terrains of India. Fourthly, roads are very good to provide door-to-door services. We can load or unload our belongings near the door, near our door. So door-to-door service are provided by road, not by railways or waterways or airways. Correct? For that we have to use again road. Then a very important point, fifth point is that these roads, they have an edge over railways if the number of passengers is small and if the goods and services are small in number. If few passengers are there, if few goods and services are there, road is the best means of transportation. And sixthly, finally, roadways is a feeder to reach to the other modes of transportation. It is a feeder to reach to the other modes of transportation. For example, suppose we want to go to railway station, we will use road. Suppose we have to go to the airport, we will use road or whatever. Suppose we have to go to the airport or seaport, we will use roads. So roads provide as a feeder to reach to the other modes of transportation. Correct? So this you can write down in the notes what is the importance of road, and rightly the second one is very commonly asked in board, that roads have preceded railways in India or they have an edge. Roadways have an edge, E-D-G-E, edge over railways. Explain. So in both the situation you have to give these 6 points. Tomorrow we will discuss about the golden quadrilateral, which is another very important topic for you and important for the purpose of as lifelines of the Indian economy. Correct? So till then, a very good bye from me.